The early bird catches the worm. Manchester United is moving fast to try and seal several players in several departments, with the central midfield position being next on the list. We know that United has already put up a bid for a centre back. We are looking at a strike already. Well, guess what? The next step is now to talk about the big one. That's the central midfielder. And I'll tell you honestly, with Casemiro bound to leave, it is without a shadow of a doubt one of the most important departments to improve at Manchester United this summer. My name is Webb. Like, share, and subscribe, as there are several options that have been linked with United. But we are going to look at each of them and see what are the odds that any of them will join the club. Well, go on, share this video and drop down in your in the comment section and let me know who you think should be the central midfielder that Manchester United goes for this summer. Now, we've been linked to several midfielders like Ores, and of course, there are some of those we've had and we've gone like, really, no, this is a far-fetched one. But the real ones are one, Joao Neves, the 19-year-old Portuguese international playing for Benfica. His issues we'll talk about in just a bit. We've been linked with Amadou Onana of Everton. He too is another player proven in the Premier League, and people are saying with Everton now almost going into administration, they need to sign players to survive. Certainly, he's one of those who they will be putting up on the market. But clearly, Everton has some issues with their valuation of their players, and maybe we'll talk about those in just a jiffy. The third one has been Youssef Fofana. This is another midfielder playing in France who United has been monitoring, and it seems clear now that Fofana will be leaving Monaco this summer. But let's get proper into one by one of these players. Now, let's start off with Joao Neves. Obviously, to many of us, Joao Neves is certainly the top priority of a central midfielder to bring. And there are reports that have suggested that people have seen cars branded with Gestifute, his agents, that is owned by George Mendes, around Carrington, in and out of Carrington several times. Of course, he represents several other players, but people are thinking it's probably to start talks with Man United over Joao Neves joining. But the issue with Joao Neves, good as he is, I've consistently said he should be, for me, the first priority because he's younger. But he has played at a good level. He's extremely talented. He's a gift, a special gift to football. Now, him and Kobe, you picture them together in the same midfield with Bruno, a senior player, ahead of them, and you clearly know that Man United will be a problem in just a few years. But the issue with him is that the president of Benfica seems to be a little bit greedy. Currently his buyout clause is 120 million euros. He was even trying to tie him down to a different contract and increase the buyout clause because he's desperate to rip off a certain club because he's wanted by Man City. Arsenal has spoken about him as a probable replacement for Thomas Partey. He's wanted by several clubs. Paris Saint-Germain as well want him. So they are so greedy. They say they won't listen to anything less than 105 million pounds or 120 million euros. That is his buyout clause. That is according to reports. But Man United are still monitoring him to see if they can try to get Benfica to come down on their valuation. Now, I don't want to go back and forth in terms of this boy and what I've spoken several times about him, but let's dwell a little on the other options because there are cheaper options that we've been linked with. I spoke about Amadou Onana of Everton. Now, Amadou Onana is the other holding midfielder who many of us feel he would fit in Manchester United. The beauty about Amadou Onana is, first of all, he has been in the Premier League, so they say better the devil you know than you don't. In terms of acclimatization. I mean, just the difference is he's been at Merseyside, so he'll be moving up north in Manchester, but he's still the UK playing in the same league. So I think it will be easier for him to acclimatize to the environment, the weather, and what have you. So that's an advantage because I mean that's very important, guys. If you've been there, you know that you need time to go to a new country, a new weather, and your body, everything gets used to it. But Amadou Onana is good, especially with winning the ball back and initiating. He's also fairly good on the ball, but mostly he's good at winning the ball back, at tackling, a bit disciplined. He does not really commit himself up front so much. He stays there, which is important for a holding midfielder. You don't want to have a holding midfielder who goes over the place because with the directness of the Premier League, you will be caught at some point. Now, that's an advantage with Onana. His price is believed to be about 60 million pounds. That's how much he's valued by Everton. Now, the other option is Youssef Fofana. Now, for me, Fofana is a better option than Amadou Onana. And whereas many people are linked want Onana, Onana is wanted by Arsenal as well, by the way. Even FOFANA is wanted by Arsenal. So with the same players we're looking at, Arsenal are looking at with several other clubs. Now, the thing why I would prefer Yusuf FOFANA as a backup in case we can't afford to get Joao Neves is I think he's a better footballer in terms of being a complete footballer with the ball on his feet. I think Yusuf Fofana is better. He's 25, of course, he's ripe. That's mature age. That's one. So he will add some bit of maturity in the midfield of Man United. But he has got goals in his feet. He has got some bit of flair. So with the ball on his feet, he gives you more than Amadou Onana would. And I'm not saying that Amadou Onana is terrible with the ball, but he's better winning it back. Now, depending on our priorities, do we need a holding midfielder who is just going to win the ball back and give it to Kobe, who will do the rest? Or do you need someone who can also add onto the attack and also initiate something with a smart pass, with a good run, a good shot on at goal, because he has got some goals in his feet as well. He has scored several of them for Monaco. So that again will depend on what the profile of the holding midfielder you want. But judging by the style Casemiro played when he was at Man United, I think we would use a Fofana style, a Fofana like midfielder than an Onana like one. Why? Because Fofana is closer to Casemiro, because Casemiro also gives you something going forward. You remember at some point he was United's top scorer when we were struggling to score goals in the first half of the season. He was the one scoring most of our goals because as a Brazilian, he has that instinct that will still go forward, but still come back and play his number 6 duty as well. I think besides being a good win of the ball, Yusuf Fofana, he's also good in terms of when you're advancing, when you're attacking. He can add something, give you a different dimension. He can beat off people. He's good at nutmegging and these tricks. He has got some trickery. He has got some skill and flair to his game that you cannot entirely say about Andre Onana. So if for me it's a pecking order of these three holding midfielders, if it has to be one of those, of course the first priority has got to be Joao Neves. If we are getting him for the right fee, the right fee for me for Joao Neves should not be more than 80 million pounds. 80 million. For me, that should be the maximum. If not, we would rather spend 40 million on Yusuf Fofana, because according to reports, Fofana can be got for between 30 to 40 million pounds. Yusuf Fofana from AS Monaco. I would rather we spend that on Fofana, little more experienced, and he would certainly come in there. And I'm certain there is a lot of things that even Kobe can learn from Fofana, given the style of play. Because when you're building a club around a player like Kobe, you want to bring in players who will also try to improve him, from whom he will learn a thing. He was learning a lot of things from Casemiro. If Casemiro is going, you want to bring in a player from whom the young Kobe can learn something. And I think Kobe can learn a little more from Fofana than he would learn from probably Amadou Onana. Not that there is nothing for him to learn from Onana, but I think Fofana is a better footballer altogether, a better midfielder altogether than Amadou Onana. So my pecking order would be, of course, the young Joao Neves, one. Too expensive, more than 80 million pounds, drop him, go to Fofana, bring in Yusuf Fofana, and Man United midfield will be a little more solid. That's my honest take. Give me your opinion, drop down in the comment section and let me know what you think, because soon we will be hearing a bidding for a holding midfielder. Who will it be? Let me know what you think.